Adora, He-Man's twin sister and defender of the Crystal Castle. This is Spirit, my beloved steed. Fabulous secrets were revealed to me.
Hey everyone, it's Lady Jaded. So thanks so much for coming and checking out my Shira tutorial. I'm just going to be going through a few things of how I made my headpiece first, and then all the sequential videos are going to be about other bits and pieces to do with my cosplay that I've made. I'm using a product which is called EVA foam. It is a foam mat that I purchased from Bunnings, which is my local hardware store, and then I am also using Stanley knife to be able to cut the foam, and also to cut the foam into that shape, and then also for any detailing. And then also a product called Sparse Grip, which is a kind of like a contact adhesive that I'm going to use to be able to stick my pieces together. So pretty much when you're using this contact adhesive, best for you to make sure that you use it in a well ventilated area, either inside with the window open or outside where you've got a lot of fresh air. I apply small areas of glue and stick my little wing things together and kind of create a bit of a step, and then those pieces will then be shaped using a Dremel later. The other thing is that once you put the glue on each side that will be stuck together, you need to make sure you apply a small amount of pressure and to help with the glue, to make sure that it sticks. It probably, because it's a small area, won't take that long to dry, thankfully, but larger areas take a longer amount of time to be able to dry, and give it a good 24 hours for it to completely cure as per the instructions. Because I've already made one side already, it's always good to go back and make sure that if you're making something like this, that it's symmetrical. So there's a couple of bits to this particular piece. So I have my basic part, and then also on top of it I've added a second area which is stuck on top, and that's just to give it a little bit more shape and definition. And I guess it's an area that the feathers can kind of come out from. So don't be afraid when you're using foam to create a bit of a 3D effect by sticking different bits of foam onto each other. The next part after this will be to use a Dremel. So I quickly kind of use a Dremel to go over any lumps and bumps, smooth out the surface, create a bit more shape, because this is going to be curved rather than like a boxy kind of shape. So the foam does tend to be quite chunky, where I want it to be nice and rounded and smooth and a bit more soft and feminine. So using your Dremel just to give that little bit of smoothness, trying to also seal the bits of foam together, and any little areas that you find later on which aren't completely smooth or flush, you then use a product called No Gaps to be able to make it look a bit nicer and a bit better. But take your time when you're using the Dremel as well. The other thing is that these foam mats also have on the back of them a pattern. You could actually remove all that pattern using a sanding block beforehand if you want to, or like what I've done here where I've used the Dremel to be able to remove it at the back afterwards. But whatever works for you. We all have different ways to be making our cosplays, so it's always good to check out a couple of different tutorials anyway. But I love using the Dremel. I think it's a great product to use when you're making your cosplays, and it does make it look a lot nicer, and you can do some marvelous things using a Dremel, and add definition and shape. Using a Dremel, make sure that you wear a respirator, just to make sure that you're not breathing in all these little dust particles that come off from the foam. So best to look after yourself and make sure that we don't get something called cosplay lungs when we're later on in life. So, so always be careful. Wear eye goggles if you can as well, just to make sure that you protect your eyes, just in case little bits fly off, for example, which is possible, especially when we're using something like this and you kind of take it for granted when you're using it all the time. But I'm really happy with the shape that I'm getting using my Dremel, and seeing both of the pieces together at the end. It definitely looks the part. Thanks so much for coming and checking in with my video, and I hope that you'll watch the next one, and feel free to share or send me a message if you've got any questions. Thanks so much. Bye.